All right, let's get right into it. The brand new 2026 Global Firepower Index just dropped, and let me tell you, it's giving us a hard, data-driven look at the world's most powerful militaries. And this year, wow, we're seeing some absolutely seismic shifts in the global hierarchy.
And really, it all boils down to one huge question. Because while some countries are climbing the ladder, one major military power is in an absolute free fall, a stunning collapse. The big question is, who? Well, let's dig in and find out.
You know, if you really want to get a handle on geopolitics, you have to follow the military power. It's just that simple. And this new index, it cuts right through all the noise, all the headlines, to show us what's really changing on the world stage. But look, the story here isn't just about who's number one. It's about who's falling, and falling fast, and who's rocketing up to take their place.
Okay, so before we get into all the drama, we've got to look at the baseline. Who's holding steady? Because right at the very top of the list, things have been remarkably consistent. You could almost call it an unchanging guard of global superpowers.
So yeah, take a look. The top four, they've been locked in this exact order for years now. The United States, no surprise, is still number one, and Russia is holding on tight to number two, just ahead of China. Now, that might defy some predictions, right? But it actually reflects a lot of recent reports we've seen about serious structural problems, maybe even a lack of trust within China's military leadership. And then you have India holding strong at number four.
But while India's position is solid, there's this one major hurdle that's keeping it from breaking into that really exclusive top three club. And it's a challenge that, honestly, gets right to the very heart of what it means to have modern military strength.
So what's the deal? It really comes down to one thing: money spent on research and development, R&D. Think about it. The US and China, they don't just have bigger defense budgets, they pour 10 to 15% of those massive budgets into creating the next generation of military tech. India, on the other hand, with a smaller budget to start with, is only putting in about 5%. That gap, that R&D investment gap, is the critical thing holding it back at number four.
And look, this isn't just my observation. This is a direct warning from India's own defense research chief. He basically said, as a nation, India must increase its defense research and development expenditure. He's making it crystal clear that a huge boost in R&D spending is the only way to crack that top three. It just goes to show you, stability at the top isn't an accident. It's built on a foundation of massive investment.
Okay, so that's the top four. Pretty stable, right? But just below them, man, that's where the real war is being fought. A fierce battle for ranking is going on. This is where we see the dramatic winners and the big losers. And it's where you can literally see the global power balance shifting in real time.
Let's just take Pakistan, for example. Back in 2023, it was flying high at 7th place, fueled by a lot of Chinese gear. But then came the major military clashes with India, which we know as Operation Sindoor. And ever since then, its ranking has gone into an absolute freefall. I mean, look at that, down to 14th. That is a huge drop in just a couple of years, and it's a direct reflection of how the world saw its performance in that conflict.
And then, in a complete 180, you look at Israel's trajectory. It's just a steady, consistent climb. From 20th place in 2021 to 18th, and now all the way up to 15th. So you have Pakistan plummeting while Israel is rising, and suddenly, they're practically neighbors in the rankings, just one spot between them. Wild.
And this right here, this leads to a truly historic power flip in the Middle East. For years, Iran has consistently outranked Israel. Just look at 2024. Iran was 14th, Israel was 17th. But now, in 2026, the whole thing has reversed. Israel is up at 15th, and Iran has slipped to 16th. For the first time in a long time, Israel is ranked higher.
But hold on, the big shuffle isn't over yet. Not by a long shot. There's another player, kind of an unexpected one, that's rapidly emerging as a really formidable force. And it's all happening right there in the Indian Ocean. And that nation, it's Indonesia. I mean, think about this. It has already leapfrogged Pakistan in the rankings, and it's making some major moves. They're buying advanced French Rafale jets, they're in talks to get India's incredibly powerful BrahMos missile system. And remember, this is the country with the world's largest Muslim population. Indonesia is sending a very clear signal that it plans to be a major power player. And honestly, it's already knocking on the door of the top 10.
And the shakeup just keeps going. Check this out. Saudi Arabia has also taken a huge hit.
plummeting 8 spots from 17th all the way down to 25th. This really suggests that global experts are taking a second, harder look at the actual strength of its military and its alliances in the region.
So, why does any of this matter? What's the big deal with these rankings? Well, it's because these numbers, this cold, hard data, they serve as a vital reality check. They cut through all the propaganda, all the opinions, to show us what is actually happening on the ground.
Think back to the aftermath of that military conflict, Operation Sindoor. A certain story, a certain narrative started to form. You saw these opinion pieces, like this one from Yusuf Nazar, popping up. And they all claimed that the whole thing had actually weakened India's image as a regional power. They were really pushing the story of Indian vulnerability.
But the data? Oh, the data tells a completely different story. So what was the real outcome? India's rank? Rock solid, stable at 4th in the world. And Pakistan's rank? It collapsed. It fell 7 places from its peak. This is how global military experts saw the situation. They based their judgment on results, not on rhetoric.
And you know, that really is the ultimate takeaway. When the rhetoric gets loud and the headlines are all over the place, hard data brings clarity. These rankings are a reflection of the true geopolitical order. They show us who is genuinely gaining power and who's just making a lot of noise. So where does that leave us? We've seen old power stumble. We've seen new regional giants like Indonesia muscle their way onto the scene. Historic rivalries are flipping on their head. It's like the tectonic plates of global military power are shifting right underneath our feet. And it leaves you with one big question, doesn't it? What is this map of power going to look like in another 10 years?